So the Sea of Monsters, it's not bad, but it's not great. So today I am doing a deep dive into the Sea of Monsters, just as I did for The Lost Hero, about how the Sea of Monsters could have been improved. Now, for me personally, the Sea of Monsters, it isn't a bad story, and for anyone who listens to my podcast, The Best Damn Camp, you will understand where I'm coming from, because this deep dive that I've been doing, I've come to appreciate many things that occur in the Sea of Monsters, but at the same time, there are many glaring problems that I have with it as well. And most of this is focused on the fact that the story itself, it doesn't have a sense of urgency, in my opinion. Everything that's happening, yes, is to help save the camp, but in comparison to the other books, The Lightning Thief, it's all about stopping a war. The Titan's Curse, it's all about Annabeth and finding Annabeth and Artemis to help make sure that the Titans don't rise, but also Annabeth, someone we've come to love, is missing and in danger. Battle of the Labyrinth is making sure that the enemy can't get into camp. And in The Last Olympian, it's all about saving Olympus and our friends. Sea of Monsters, it's saving camp, but all the things that lead up to it just don't feel that engaging. And the moments that we do have in the book, we have Tyson who dies for 4 or 5 chapters and then he comes back. Clarisse, who at the start of the book is a tactical battle leader, but not when it's plot convenient. And then Annabeth and Percy have moments of possible relationship building in a friendship way and possible romantic intentions as well, but it's never deeply expanded on. And Luke really doesn't exist in this book as well, even though he is the main villain. So this video today is mainly looking at things that I think could be changed to make this book feel more significant and important. And admittedly, some of these changes would change the way in which the books later on would work as well. And the first one I'm going to be starting with is Clarisse. Now, everyone may know from my social media that I've become a huge Clarisse stan from doing this deep dive of the Sea of Monsters. And the reason why I have been is because of these different moments that we get of Clarisse throughout the book, where it shows that she clearly cares for the people in her life. There's the moment on Polyphemus's island where her and Percy are working almost perfectly together to fight and protect Grover and Annabeth from Polyphemus, and they are working well as a team to protect their friends. And these are even people that Clarisse probably doesn't even consider friends, but she's working to save them as best she can. Even carries Annabeth wrapped in a golden fleece to help her get better, and also just because she can't walk herself, so she carries her. Someone she again doesn't really consider a friend. At the start, she's protecting the camp as best she can. She's doing it with the chariot race. She's doing it with the birds that attack as well. She is a good fighter and has a tactical mind. But when it comes to plot convenient elements, such as boasting to Polyphemus, even though she knows he can hear, and that's how he is able to fight, because he listens so intently that he can figure out where people are. And she knows this because she was fighting him and knew that. And that leads to the boat being destroyed. Another case with another boat. For some reason, she decides to go the more difficult route into the Sea of Monsters. For some reason, and it's not kind of explained well enough for me to understand. And I think the way in which this could have been improved is, yes, she can make these initial idiotic mistakes with the boat and getting into the Sea of Monsters, but the way to improve her character is to have her end up with Percy and Annabeth in the boat after it explodes, goes with them to Cece's Island, goes with them to the Sirens, have her begin to develop this relationship and camaraderie with these two people. Because she would be more on their side. She would know firstly what is going on with Grover, because at this point she has no idea what is going on with Grover, other than the fact that he is there on the island, I think. But I think if she were to build this relationship with Percy in particular, who she really doesn't get on with throughout the whole series as well, I think it can show a different side to their relationship, and I think it'd just be something to show a different side to Clarisse, who really doesn't have any significance except for small, really heroic moments that are dotted throughout the series. Other than that, we don't really get much else about her. And I think that's unfortunate because she's kind of like a Slytherin character, but one that people begin to understand and see in a different light because our main character decides to work with them. I think it'd just be interesting either way. But to move on to the next part, Tyson. The Tyson death is something that I, to this day, am disappointed with, because you can kind of tell it's not going to last long. There's just a sense about it for some reason. But the way in which it's solved really, really frustrates me, because it doesn't last long. We've just kind of started to come to terms with Tyson's death when he suddenly reappears, and basically he's sort of I think I'm using the wrong term again. He's not a MacGuffin, that's not what I want to say. He basically helps solve the situation. They were all about to be killed by Polyphemus when Tyson comes in. He's able to stop the man-eating sheep from wanting to eat them. If he hadn't have been there, they would have had to figure out a way to get around that. And I think that would have been more interesting to build on that teamwork. But Tyson comes in to fix the situation really easily, which removes all the tension that was building up in that moment. I think, if anything, if Tyson was to come back, and I don't have an issue with him coming back, I have an issue with when and how. And I think it's more just because it just feels like it's coming out of nowhere. I think it'd be more interesting with how this book ends with Tyson going to Poseidon's palace under the sea to help forge weapons. If maybe a chapter or two before that happened, when the group have gotten back to camp, Percy goes down to the water to have a moment to grieve over the loss of his brother. And then Tyson appears, just coming out of the water with a rainbow. And they kind of have the similar explanation, but you have this moment, Percy is so overjoyed, he has the moment to have a little bit of that breakdown because he missed him so much and he feels so guilty for the way he treated him. And then to also find out at that moment as well that Tyson is leaving. It's better for Tyson to go help their dad because he sees the issues that are going on. They need to prepare for war. So I think it'd be more interesting to have that happen near the end, because we would still be grieving that loss and it would feel more significant. I think the death itself needs a little bit of improvement writing-wise anyway, but having that happen and kind of seeing Tyson actually come out of the water and seeing the aftermath instead of him just suddenly appearing and then being told what happened instead of seeing him with Rainbow, I think would kind of work a bit better. It may just be me, so if you guys don't agree, just let me know in the comments, but please be kind. That's just what I think about Tyson's death. But a bigger thing for me is the Annabeth and Percy relationship. In this book, nothing of significance or substance really happens. And considering in the next book, Annabeth goes missing, this would have been the perfect moment to really dig in deep to that relationship. So when that next book happens and she goes missing and is lost, we as readers and Percy are going to feel that on a deep, personal, anguishable level. Anguishable is not a word. It is now. Because the relationship they've built up in The Lightning Thief, and then that's gotten deeper in The Sea of Monsters by understanding Annabeth's past and the trauma that's come from that. Him talking to her about her vision at the sirens, her talking to him about how he felt when he was a guinea pig, and the sort of self-conscious and just how small he felt, and the fact that he doesn't believe that he could ever be a true hero. If they had dug into that, because it's said all in Percy's mind, but he never says it aloud. I think if Annabeth had spoken to Percy about these moments and they talked and they had this emotional deep connection there, and I know they're kids and it's not really something kids do. I was an emotional wreck as a child, so I did. But I think if they did that, and that was spread out, and we're learning more things about Annabeth's past, we were also learning more things about how Percy is a fallible hero, and how he even maybe confides in Annabeth about how he felt about Tyson and how he feels guilty about that now because he's gone. I think that would have helped develop that relationship. And if Clarisse was there as well, it could work even more. We could see a different side to Clarisse, considering that Percy sees her dad threaten her with physical violence. There could be a moment there of like, sort of like a Breakfast Club moment. I know those aren't great moments to have, but something like that I think would have established a deeper connection between Percy and Annabeth. So everything that happens in the subsequent books just builds deeper and deeper on that moment, especially for the Titan's Curse with Annabeth's kidnapping. And then of course, just in terms of Luke in general, considering he is our main bad guy, I feel he needed a bit more significance in the book itself, because he appears halfway through briefly and then again at the end, and then that's it, but they feel really disconnected to me. I can't think of an example of what could be done instead, but there's just something I feel needed to be done there, especially for the foreshadows of what happens in the Titan's Curse as well, and all the subsequent books after. There needed to be a bit more foreshadowing and connection between Sea of Monsters and all the other books, which I just feel wasn't there as a whole. I think that's why Sea of Monsters is possibly one of the most disliked books in the Percy Jackson series. I get it, I've come to appreciate it more recently, but it definitely could do with a lot of work. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me that the Sea of Monsters needed some work doing to it? And what do you think of the examples that I gave of what could have been done instead? Whatever the case, let me know in the comment section down below. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. In the description box you will find the links to all of my social media, my merchandise store and my Patreon, where if you can support me, be sure to do so there, but if you can't, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.